Big time.
Hey, what's good, everyone? Welcome to this episode of our weekly missions roundtable with your West Coast Hub. As always, it's your boy, Anthony English, the assistant director for the West Coast Hub. And we also have our brilliant administrative assistant, Miss Alli. Say what up, Alli.
What's going on, y'all?
And then we are honored because we are here with my boy, the director of partner relations at Mission to the World, Mr. Tim Sasser in the building, y'all. Tim, how
Hey
you
guys, man, I'm great. How are y'all?
doing? Well, buddy.
I want to send greetings. I'm coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, right now via the miracle of the internet.
That's what's up. And real quick before we start, because we got a good episode for y'all. The Batman, better than the Dark Knight?
Come on, man.
Of course, it's better than the Dark Knight.
No. I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it fourth in 13.
Fourth? Oh,
yeah.
My heart.
Give me Dark Knight. Give me both Burton films, and then I'll have your boy the Batman in there. So we can talk offline about this. I've got a decent argument.
Man, God's working on my sanctification today.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so blessed to have y'all. And so for all of those watching on the West Coast and the PCA and our PCA churches and the seminaries and anyone interested in watching, would you tell us a little bit about what you do at MTW?
Yeah, gladly. And thank you guys for having me. I've been stumping for months to get on this thing, and I'm finally here. So I consider this the pinnacle of my MTW career thus far. It's my pleasure for MTW to be able to engage our donors, those who give to make all of what we do happen, to engage them in biblical stewardship. A lot of what we do is we do a lot of teaching on the front of estate design and estate planning from a biblical point of view. The goal in mind is to teach them about stewardship, God's plan for stewardship for their life, and we want people to be lifelong givers and giving to ministry things for ministry purposes and building the kingdom. We want to see folks use their giftedness for the sake of the kingdom, and right now in the U.S. church, a lot of those gifts that He's given us are material and financial, and so we want to mobilize those resources for the sake of the kingdom. And that's mainly what I do. I talk to people about what it means to give, and to give generously, give sacrificially, and to give joyfully. That's what I do.
No, I love that, Tim. So let me ask you this question. When we were ambassadors, you talked about estate planning, right? And ambassadors weekend is a time where we come together and we talk with people who are have been known to be generous donors and givers to the work of global missions, and it's a blessing. It was a fun weekend back in October in San Diego this past year. But people may hear estate planning. What does that have to do with global missions? What does this have to do with mission to the world? Like, why are you engaged in estate planning? So can you explain, what does estate planning have to do with the work of global missions?
No, it's a fair enough question. And for a couple of reasons. The main one is it's hard to, unless you know what the end result is, it's hard to really plan and prepare for that. So we kind of start with the end in mind and fill in the gaps. And so for a lot of people, if you know that, hey, we want to be generous not only in life, but also after we go to be with the Lord, it's going to affect the way that you make your plans, that you plan for legacy gifts or bequests, and where that money is going. A lot of that tends to be driven by tradition or by, hey, we just didn't really think about that. We're just going to hand everything else, to the next generation. Notwithstanding, they may not share the same values or same love for missions and the things that are really in your heart. And so we find that a lot of families want to make sure that those resources that they feel that God's put into their hands as a matter of stewardship go to where their heart's passion is. And so whether it's MTW, other ministries, other organizations, people are going to give where they've been giving. We just want to give them an opportunity, give them some questions to think about, so that they can plan to do that in a very effective, orderly, because we believe our God's a God of order, in a very orderly, planned way. And so it ends up being a real ministry. We do that through the churches in the PCA. It's a great ministry. So yeah, that's how. And by the way, our people listening, Anthony did come to speak at our ambassadors weekend, which is a weekend where we raise money for capital projects on the field, and just absolutely killed it, brother. You can come back anytime you want.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. I'm down. Just, give me that invite. Give me the invite and I'll be there.
I just gave it to you. It's an open one. So yeah, y'all come on.
Hey, Lord willing, I'll be back with you, man. It was a really fun weekend. Me and my wife had a great time with everyone. So
he's our not so quiet secret gem on the West Coast. We love him and cherish him. He's awesome.
Oh, look at Alli.
Alli, you can come too.
Hey, Alli is only being nice because we're being recorded. You should see how she treats me when we're not being recorded. Don't try to be all Christian, Alli, all nice Presbyterian. Girl, you act so Baptist off this recording.
I've lived in the hole in the buck on the Bible Belt.
This seems like this predates me.
Well, Tim, would you tell us a little bit more about the specific donor giving? That's awesome about the estate planning, but what about just the straight donor giving? Yeah,
so we work in a ministry that all of our missionaries in the field, you guys included, all of us, we're support raised positions, and so what we find is that these missionaries have really big plans, and they feel directed by God in the field that they want to see accomplished, whether it be capital projects. Most of them are capital projects, but whether it be capital projects, more church planning, whatever it happens to be. And so instead of them going back to their donor bases and wringing that for more and more money, which sometimes we encourage them to do, but we get to go out on their behalf and raise money directly with donors for specific projects. That's what our ambassadors does. It basically is a grant making operation that has vetted projects, 4 or 5 times over, that they get to basically invest in the field. And so those capital projects, those churches get built, those publications get translated into different languages all over the world. It just becomes a really exciting way. And for us, my ministry, I feel really called to activating, mobilizing the American church. And again, what it is that God's put into their hands materially. Part of the big plan of mobilization, you're going to hear from Leonard Lou in a little bit, but part of the mobilization factor is not only getting folks to the field, but using the resources that they have for the sake of the gospel. And so a lot of that, I want to be in the position to ask them, what is it that God's put into your hands, and how are you using that for the kingdom? And here's an opportunity for you to do so in very specific ways. The Holy Spirit's going to move how he's going to move. I just get the opportunity to sit in front of folks and allow them to see a few things very specific that they can get to. It's such a joy. We love doing that.
Look at Tim. Look at Mr. Sasser out here preaching. Go ahead.
Come on.
Hey, so let me ask you this question as we get ready to end. And we appreciate you, brother, and what you do, and how you talk to people about being generous givers, because I truly believe the principle that if you want to see what you value, and I'm talking about as a whole, there's exceptions, of course, people who are struggling financially, but for the majority of the American church, the Reformed church, we've been blessed with some wealth, some finances. So if you want to see what you value, look at your pocketbook, look at your bank account, and see where your money is going to, because that's going to tell you ultimately, what do you value? What are you investing in? Is it this passing evil world and age, or is it the eternal kingdom of Christ? So let's say someone's watching and they're saying, you know what, man, I do want to give. I want, where my treasure is, my heart's there, and I want to show them my heart really is in the kingdom. So, Tim, how do I give? How do I reach out to you? How can people get into contact with you, or how can they give to the work of Christ's kingdom being spread to the nations?
Well, man, you hit the nail on the head. That Matthew 6:21 passage, where your treasure is, your heart is also. That's exactly right. And we, I love that I just said that Jesus was right when he said that. But yeah, we believe that. We believe that that is, that's absolutely true. And so, you know, for me, they can obviously contact me at my email. I mean, at timm.sasser, Tim Sasser at mtw.com or .org. But I mean, they can go through the donations and project page on the MTW website. They can go through you. You got my contact info. My man bothers me at all hours of the night because he's on different time frames and different time schedules.
We got
But
things to talk about, bro.
But yeah, I mean, it's our pleasure to be able to look at folks, and I'll tell you that, and to look folks in the eye and talk to them about where their treasure is, where their heart is. And I'll tell you this, and I'll end with this. Stewardship is not about dollars. Like it really is about the heart. We believe it to be a function of discipleship. God's given you, you know, this stack for this season of life. And we continue to want to ask, first of all, whose money is that? We believe that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Secondly, what are you doing with God's money? And so, and that's not for me, that's between you and the Holy Spirit to decide. And, but we, you know, we believe MTW is a worthwhile place to give, that there are things going on around the world that are enlarging the kingdom for the sake of the kingdom. And man, what a pleasure to be able to do. So, but yeah, in answer to your question, get a hold of you, email me at my email address. I sometime, are you going to put that at the bottom of the screen here, Alli, or what do you know? We can put it in the chat or whatever you want to do. But I'd be happy to talk to anybody. And if you're a church, man, let's talk about doing a seminar at your church. It would be, I think, a really advantageous, a real blessing to you.
Love it. I love it. Well, guys, listen, we appreciate y'all hopping on with us, your West Coast Hub, for our weekly Missions Roundtable video. Thank you, Tim. Alli, it's always a pleasure. Y'all,
thank you, guys.
Look at the Get Started form above on Facebook, below if you're on YouTube, and we'll see y'all next week. God bless y'all.